I never thought I'd wake up to the sound of chainsaws ripping through my American dream. But there I was, coffee in hand, staring at the mangled stumps where a century-old cherry blossom grove should have been. The real estate agent had sold me on that view. Pink petals drifting like snow over my new backyard in upscale Marin County, California, a slice of serenity amid the tech boom chaos. But Karen, the self-appointed queen of the HOA, had decided my trees were an eyesore and bulldozed them overnight, leaving me with a barren scar and a lawsuit that would make her empire crumble. It started with a closing date and ended with her tears in a courtroom. But the real gut punch was realizing she'd done it not just out of spite, but because I didn't fit her neighborhood aesthetic code for not white enough in her whispered boardroom chats. I bought the house sight unseen from halfway across the country, fresh off a Silicon Valley startup exit, dreaming of roots after years of nomad life. What I got was war. The drive from SFO to Sausalito felt like crossing into enemy territory. I'd closed on the property remotely, wiring the 7 figures while holed up in a Seattle Airbnb, my laptop glowing with escrow docs. At 32, I'd cashed out my AI ethics firm for a cool $20 million. Ironic, given how little ethics some folks still had. Marin was my reset. Quiet streets, fog-kissed mornings, and that grove of sakura trees, the listing hyped as heritage imports from a Japanese garden estate. My mom, who'd escaped Vietnam in '75, always said cherry blossoms reminded her of fragile beauty in chaos. I picture morning Tai Chi under them, finally settling after a decade of code and conquest. But as I crested the hill on Highway 101, my Tesla's NAV chimed, arriving at Willowbrook Estates. The gates swung open, polished iron with a brass plaque screaming Homeowners Association, excellence enforced. Goo! I punched in the code, tires crunching on pristine gravel. The house loomed, Spanish Revival, stucco walls sun-bleached to perfection, terracotta roof tiles glinting like they'd been waxed daily. My key turned smooth in the lock, and I stepped into the foyer, vaulted ceilings, hardwood floors echoing my sneakers. I whispered, dropping my duffel. The backyard called first. Sliding glass doors whooshed open, and I froze. Where petals should have danced, there was nothing. Just dirt, churned like a fresh grave, dotted with jagged stumps maybe 2 feet tall. A single pink petal clung to one, mocking me. My stomach dropped. I circled the yard, phone out, snapping pics. The grove had been massive, 20 trees at least, trunks thick as my thigh, branches arching like old friends. Now, butchered. A yellow notice fluttered from a stake. HOA violation remediation. Unauthorized overgrowth removed per bylaws section 4.2. Contact board for reimbursement. Reimbursement? For what? The therapy bills. I dialed the agent, voice steady but fist clenched. Mark? It's Alex. Get here now. He arrived in 20, Porsche purring to a halt, his face paling as he surveyed the carnage. Jesus, Alex. This wasn't in the disclosures. We paced, him muttering about clauses, me seething. The trees weren't mine yet. Closing was yesterday, but they'd been on the property for decades, protected under some county heritage ordinance. Mark pulled up the listing. Mature cherry blossoms, a rare urban oasis. Lies, or at least willful blindness. That's when Karen materialized. A late-model Lexus SUV barreled up the drive, doors slamming like gunshots. Outstepped her, mid-50s blonde bob helmet sharp, pearls choking her neck, Lululemon yoga pants stretched over a frame that screamed Peloton and privilege. "You must be the new owner," she said, not a question, clipboard in hand like a shield. Her smile was toothpaste-ad bright, but her eyes? Ice picks. I'm Karen Whitaker, HOA president and CEO of Whitaker Wellness, our neighborhood's premier spa chain. Welcome to Willowbrook. I trust you're settling in. I gestured at the stumps. Settling? You call this settling? Mark hovered, awkward buffer. Karen didn't flinch. Oh, that. Unnecessary pruning. Those trees were dropping petals everywhere, clogging gutters, attracting pests. We voted unanimously at last month's board meeting. You'll thank us when you see how it opens up the view. Unanimously? The board was her cronies, retired execs and trophy wives, all echoing her vibe. I later learned she'd pushed it through while I was airborne, citing imminent hazard without permits. Thank you. My voice cracked, heat rising. Mom's stories flashed. Saigon falling. Refugees turned away at borders for not fitting. This felt like that. Suburban edition. Those were heritage trees. Protected. You can't just. Darling, she cooed, patronizing as hell. We can. And we did. Bylaws are bylaws. If you're unhappy, join the next meeting. But really, think of the curb appeal. This neighborhood has standards. Standards. The word hung, laced with subtext. Mark cleared his throat. Karen, Alex has a point. The county. County Shounty, she snapped, accent clipping like she was from old money Boston, not whatever Midwest suburb spit her out. I've donated more to the planning commission than your little tech windfall, I'm sure. How'd she know about the exit? Stalk her much? She thrust a form at me. Sign here for the cleanup crew. They'll sod it by Friday. I didn't sign. Instead, I called my lawyer, a shark from Palo Alto named Elena, who'd crushed big tech in antitrust suits. Trees, she laughed over speaker. Easy money. Emotional distress, property devaluation, environmental violation. We're talking 6 figures minimum. Karen lingered, eyeing my unpacked boxes like they offended her. You know, we had a lovely Japanese family here once. They kept to themselves. But these trees? Overgrown, like their garden parties. Japanese. Not Vietnamese. Not me. The dig landed, casual racism wrapped in nostalgia. By nightfall, the house felt haunted, not by ghosts, but by her ghost. I poured scotch, Macallan 18, a splurge, and scrolled HOA docs online. Buried in fine print. Trees over 50 years exempt from removal without owner consent. She'd forged ahead anyway, emailing the board falsified inspections. Controversy brewed fast. I posted pics on Nextdoor. New homeowner assaulted by HO, a tyrant. Help? Likes poured in, comments exploding, classic Karen move. Sue harassed. Wait, Whitaker Wellness. Boycott. Dawn broke with drones, local news chopper, then a reporter van. I tipped them anonymously. Karen's Lexus screeched in at 8 a.m., her face a mask of fury. Take that down. Libel. She hissed through the screen door. I sip coffee, calm. Truth's not libel, Karen. Neither's a GoFundMe for legal fees, already at $50K. Her empire? Whitaker Wellness, 12 spas across NorCal, $80 million valuation, featured in Forbes as empowering women in wellness. Empowering, unless you were the brown guy next door. The board meeting was a circus. I showed up in a Tom Ford suit, tailored sharp, hair slicked, looking every bit the Valley Wolf. The community center buzzed. Neighbors I'd never met, whispering. Karen presided from a dais, gavel like a scepter. Order. This emergency session addresses the landscaping incident at Lot 47. Incident. Cute. I stood. Not an incident. Vandalism. Those trees were 120 years old, imported post-World War II by Japanese internees rebuilding lives here. Cultural heritage, county protected. Gasps rippled. Karen's lips thinned. Exaggerations. They were diseased. Diseased. I slid printouts across. Arborist report, commissioned overnight for $2,000. Healthy as hell. Your inspector with her nephew, unlicensed. Murmurs turned to outrage. Old Mr. Patel, the quiet accountant next door, piped up. My wife loved those blossoms. You never asked us. Karen banged the gavel. This is disruption. The board stands with you. A voice from back. Mrs. Lopez, the Latina realtor who'd been iced out of events. Or your wallet? The room erupted. Phones out, live streaming to TikTok. Karen chops trees trended by midnight. Her spas hit with 1-star reviews. Chop your membership like you chop those trees. She cornered me after, breath hot. You think you're clever, city boy? I built this place. You? Transient tech bro, gone in a year. Transient. The word stung. Echoes of model minority BS I'd fought in boardrooms. I'm here to stay, Karen. And you're about to learn what happens when you swing at kings. Elena filed the suit Monday. Nguyen versus Whitaker HOA et al. Claims. Trespass, conversion, intentional infliction, plus punitive for the racism angle, backed by our email subpoenaed early. Dear Board, the new owner's exotic trees clash with our traditional aesthetic. Remove pre-closing to avoid complications. Exotic. Traditional. Code for keep it lily white. Discovery was a bloodbath. Depositions in her corner office. Marble floors. Essential oils masking desperation. Karen squirmed under Elena's grill. Ms. Whitaker, explain why you bypassed permits. Efficiency, she huffed. For the community. Or for your view. Your house backs right up. Those trees block your infinity pool vista. Silence. Then the kicker, in the email, exotic? Care, to elaborate. Her lawyer objected, but too late. Karen flushed crimson. I meant, culturally vibrant. A compliment. Bull. The judge, a no-nonsense Latina from Oakland, frowned. Jury will decide if that's admiration or animus. Social media amplified the feud. I went viral as Tree Avenger, guests on Bay Area podcasts spilling tea. Karen's ruled with an iron fist. Fines for lawn gnomes, evictions for too many kids. Her stock dipped 15%. Investors bailed, whispering PR nightmare. Protests outside her flagship spa. Signs reading blossoms over bigots, diverse crowd chanting. I didn't orchestrate. People did, the internet's revenge engine. But the real twist? Her daughter, Taylor, a 25-year-old influencer with 200K followers. She'd med me. Dad's side? No. Mom's a monster. Those trees were my childhood hideout. Help bury her. Ally from within. Taylor leaked internals. Board minutes fudged, kickbacks to contractors. Elena pounced. Rico vibes, fraud on top. Trial loomed like a storm. Pre-trial motions. Her team pushed settlement. $100,000 and an apology. I countered. $10 million, full replant, her resignation. Dream on. Her attorney sneered. But whispers said she was cracking. Sleepless, spas hemorrhaging clients. Opening day, federal courthouse in San Francisco. Marble halls echoing footsteps, air thick with coffee and tension. I sat front row, suit pressed, mom's jade bracelet on my wrist for luck. She couldn't fly out, health flaring, but texted, fight like our ancestors, Con. Blossoms bloom again. Karen entered like a diva, flanked by suits, chin high. Our eyes met. Hers narrowed, mine smiled. Game on. The plaintiff's case opened with me on stand, sworn in, voice steady. Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen, I came to Willowbrook for peace. What I found was prejudice with a chainsaw. Slides projected. Before pics, petals swirling. After, stumps stark. Expert witness. Dr. Lin, UC, Berkeley botanist. These were Yoshino cherries, genetically rare, valued at $2.5 million in ecological and cultural terms. Irreplaceable. Karen's cross? Brutal. Hearth attorney, a silver fox from a white shoe firm, paste. Mr. Nguyen, you admit you never visited pre-closing. How sentimental can you be for trees you never saw? Trap. I leaned in. Sentimental? Try ancestral. My family lost everything in 75. Home, history. Those trees? Survivors like us. You don't erase that for curb appeal. Jury nodded. Diverse panel. Oakland jury pool bleeding into Marin. Then her turn. Karen testified, poise cracking. I acted for the greater good. This neighborhood, it's a legacy. We maintain standards. Elena rose, shark grin. Standards excluding exotic elements, per your email. Objection overruled. Karen stammered. Misconstrued. I adore diversity, in its place. Gasps. Juror 7. A black woman, scribbled furiously. Rebuttal gold. Taylor's testimony, tear-streaked. Mom hated anything that challenged her control. The trees? Dad planted them for me. She cut them despite the old owners, Asian like you, Alex. Karen's face crumbled, whispers of perjury. The judge called recess. Her team huddled, frantic. Closing arguments. Elena painted her as a bully in pearls. Me as the underdog reclaiming space. This isn't about trees. It's about belonging. Who gets to bloom in America? Her side? Overreach by a litigious newcomer. Week. Deliberation. 2 days. Agony. I pace my temp rental, a bland condo downtown, fielding calls from reporters. Mom FaceTime. Proud. Gone. Whatever comes, you stood tall. Verdict read at 3 p.m. Liable on all counts. Damages. $50 million punitive. $2.5 million compensatory. The courtroom erupted. Hugs from strangers, Karen slumping, sobbing into a handkerchief. But the sting? Her final glare as bailiffs led her out for contempt hearing. Emails showed she'd threatened witnesses. You'll regret this, Ngwen. No, got in. You will. Enforcement hit like a freight train. Her spas? Auctioned to cover. Prime real estate snapped up by a queer-owned collective, rebranded Blossom Wellness, Inclusive Roots. HOA dissolved. New board elected democratically. First act. Heritage Tree Fund. And the yard? Crews swarmed my property. $3 million in imports, flown from Kyoto nurseries, planted under cherry-picked cranes. Petals fell by spring, soft as forgiveness. I watched from the deck, scotch in hand, Taylor beside me. New friend, maybe more. She moved to Florida, she said, voice soft. Dad's place. Hates the humidity. Schadenfreude? A sip, but the bitterness lingered, her standards scarred deeper than stumps. America, land of second chances. Mine included replanting what bigots uproot. Yet as blossoms drifted, I felt it, roots sinking. Not just trees, but me. Willowbrook wasn't hers anymore. It was ours. The victory party was a blur of craft IPAs and high fives under string lights in what used to be her flagship spa's garden, now a pop-up for the cause. Elena raised a glass to Alex and Gwyn, the man who turned stumps into a statement. Laughter rippled, but mine caught hollow. $52.5 million wired by week's end, sure, but the wind tasted like ash. Karen's empire in ruins, her social exile complete. Instagram frozen at 10K followers, all bots now. Yet I'd lost the innocence of that first key turn. Home wasn't a place anymore. It was a battlefield. Replanting day dawned crisp, October fog burning off to reveal a sky bluer than her denied alibis. Trucks rumbled up my drive, laden with saplings, each a genetic twin to the originals, tags fluttering like surrender flags. The crew chief, a burly guy named Rico with tats peeking from his Carhartt sleeves, shook my hand. Heard the story, man. This one's on the house. Well, on her dime. We marked grids with stakes, soil turned rich and loamy, amendments mixed, compost from local farms, mycorrhizal fungi for deep roots. Taylor showed, camera in tow for her Redemption Reels series, irony thick as the mulch. As the first tree dropped in, crane arm steady, burlap peeled back to expose tender roots. I flashed a mom's voice. Trees bend, con, but don't break. She'd Skyped from her little Saigon bungalow, eyes misty. Plant for us all, the ones who came before, who couldn't fight back. The crew worked in rhythm, dig, settle, tamp, water. By dusk, 10 stood proud, branches skeletal but promising. Neighbors trickled over. Mr. Patel with samosas, Mrs. Lopez with tamales, a potluck born of shared grudge. To new growth, we toasted plastic cups clinking. But peace? Fleeting. That night, anonymous emails pinged. Go back to where you came from, tree hugger. Her trolls, no doubt, loyalists from the old board, lurking in Facebook groups. I forwarded to Elena. She'd already prepped a defamation suit. Sleep came fitful, dreams of chainsaws morphing into napalm. Morning brought worse. A process server at my door, papers crisp. Karen's countersuit, frivolous litigation, defamation, emotional distress, seeking $20 million back. Chutzpah level, expert. Her filing? A screed in legalese, painting me as a calculating opportunist exploiting minor landscaping for personal gain. Minor? I laughed bitter, scanning attachments. Affidavits from witnesses claiming I'd provoked the removal with pre-closing complaints. Lies. I've been silent. Buried deeper. Her deposition addendum. alleging bias against her as a successful woman. Victim card played late. Elena called. Smoke screen. Her assets are frozen. This is desperation. Motion to dismiss incoming. The media frenzy reignited. CNN ran a segment. Tree wars. Symbol of suburban strife? Pundits dissected. Fox calling me woke warrior. MSNBC everyman's hero. Protests swelled outside her Florida condo. Leaked address. Courtesy Taylor, Karen's karma, chance, signs with chainsaw emojis. Her response? A tearful Substack. Betrayed by my own blood. A mother's lament. Taylor eviscerated it live. You betrayed us first, Mom. Those trees were family. I dove into the rebuild, channeling fury into foundation. Hired a landscape architect. Jada, a black woman from Oakland with a permaculture bit. Not just replant, she sketched over coffee. Regenerate. Native understory, pollinator paths, community, orchard extension. Cost? Another mill from the pot, but worth it. Willowbrook, transformed. Edible guild plantings, benches from reclaimed wood, even a plaque. In memory of lost blossoms, resilience rises. Neighbors bought in. Dues redirected to the fund, erasing her fine's legacy. Yet controversy simmered. At the first new board meet, me as reluctant VP, old guard crashed. A silver-haired widower, Harlan, pounding the table. This is cultural erasure. You and your Asian fetish, turning our lawns into hippie farms. Fetish? The room, tensed. Mrs. Lopez shot back, says the man who mowed over wildflowers for golf tees. Fist fight nearly erupted. Security called Harlan 86-foot D. But his words lingered, a mirror to Karen's poison. Was I imposing my exotic vision now? Jada pulled me aside. Nah, bruh. You're healing. They fear change cause it exposes their cracks. Taylor and I grew close. Dinners at hole-in-the-wall faux spots, her laughing at my war stories, me at her influencer woes. Mom always said you techies were soulless. She confessed one night, wine loosening tongues. But you're the first guy who's real. Sparks flew tentative. Sex was electric. Her place, overlooking the bay, bodies tangled like vines. Post-glow, doubts crept. Revenge fling or roots? She traced my scars, appendectomy. Not war you're staying, right? Build with me. Winter rains nourish the saplings. Shoots green by New Year. Karen's suit? Tossed in summary judgment. Judge citing frivolous and retaliatory. She appealed, pro-SE now, savings gutted. Her Substack devolved. Rant about reverse racism, conspiracy theories tying me to globalist agendas. Sad, really, a queen dethroned, clawing at shadows. Spring teased early, petals budding, pink nubs swelling. The orchard bore first. Pluets for Patel, lemons for Lopez. Community bloomed. Yoga under branches, irony noted, potlucks weekly. I even dated Taylor publicly, hand in hand at farmers markets, her arm a shield against stares. But the past clawed back. Anonymous tip to Elena. Karen's final play. A book deal. Chopped. A CEO's fight against cancel culture. Ghostwritten, no doubt. Advance? Pennies compared to her loss. Launch party loomed in Miami. Her comeback. I debated crashing, mic in hand. Truth serum, Karen? Taylor begged off. Let her fade. Wise. Instead, we hosted our own. Blossom Bash. 200 strong under full canopies. Speeches flowed, me last. This isn't vengeance. It's victory for every kid told their roots don't belong. Cheers thundered, petals rained confetti. But the bitter twist? Harlan's echo. A new family moved in, Latino, vibrant murals on their fence. Complaint filed, obtrusive, old habits. I shut it down, board vote unanimous. Yet doubt gnawed. Was I becoming her? No, difference was consent, community. Still, nights alone, scotch burning, I wondered. $50 mill richer but soul deep poorer? Taylor sensed it. You're brooding again. We lay in my king bed, sheets twisted. What if it's never enough? She propped on elbow. It is. Look outside, life's winning. She was right. But as sirens wailed distant, SF's endless pulse. I felt the weight. America's promise, fragile as blossoms. Summer scorched in, turning Marin into a tinderbox. Wildfire smoke hazing the horizon, a reminder that even victories burn. The grove thrived, though. Irrigation on timers, leaves whispering secrets in the breeze. I'd sunk another chunk into smart tech. Sensors monitoring soil pH, apps alerting to pests. Ironic, weaponizing my valley roots for Revenge's garden. Business boomed tangential. Consultants hit me up for HOA horror seminars. I keynoted a diversity SONF in Austin, from stumps to strongholds, reclaiming space. Taylor and I, solidifying. She quit influencing for a gig at the rebranded spa. Marketing lead, pitching equity in wellness. Weekends, hikes in Muir Woods, real redwoods, no chainsaws, her head on my shoulder at Indie Flicks. You're my anchor, she'd murmur, fingers laced. But anchors drag too. Her calls to mom in Florida, stilted, she's trying therapy. Hates it. Pity stirred, unwelcome. Karen, reduced to Zoom life coaching, peddling resilience retreats to has-beens. Controversy reignited via Harlan's proxy. A petition circulating, restore Willowbrook's classic charm. Signatures, 20 holdouts, griping about overrun paths, foreign fruits. Subtext? Same old. I rallied the board. Town hall packed. Air electric. This isn't about charm, I addressed, projector glowing with Grove stats. Biodiversity up 40%, property values spike 15%. It's about evolution. Sign if you want dinosaurs. Laughter defused, petition fizzled. But post-meet, a brick through Mrs. Lopez's window note, go home. Cops called, Elena prepped class action for harassment. The real gut punch dropped via certified mail. Karen's settlement overture, handwritten scrawl, bleeding desperation. Alex, I've lost everything. The book flopped, spa's gone. Taylor won't speak. Please drop the appeals. I'll confess publicly. Confess? To what? The emails, the nepotism. Attached, a draft apology video script, teary-eyed drivel. I was wrong. Diversity isn't a buzzword, it's our strength. Crocodile tears. I shredded it, but Taylor salvaged a copy. Read it, she urged over takeout sushi. She's broken. Broken. The word echoed as I paced the deck, petals swirling in eddies. Mom called, Con, bitterness poisons the well. Forgive. Not for her, for you. Vietnamese wisdom, sage as hell. But forgiveness? After her exotic slight, the overnight chop? Nah. Instead, I countered via lawyer. Public confession, full on camera. Plus, volunteer 500 hours at a refugee garden project. No NDA. Her reply? Silence, then acceptance, begrudging, broadcast live on her dusty channel. The video aired to crickets. Karen in a drab condo. No makeup, voice quavering. I let fear guide me. The trees. They represented change I couldn't embrace. To Alex and the community, I'm sorry. Truly. Views, 500. Comments, brutal. Too little, too late. PR stunt. Taylor watched with me, head on my lap. It's something. Was it? Her empire dust, but the scar tissue? Mine itched. Fall brought harvest. Fluids plump, shared at block parties. Jada's design shone. Bees humming, kids climbing low branches. I even hosted Mom. First visit, her wheelchair gliding paths eyes wide. Beautiful, Con. Like Hugh before the bombs. Tears mixed with laughter. We dim sum downtown. Taylor charming her with broken Vietnamese. Gia Din, Mom nodded approval. Family. The word settled, warm. But the backlash brewed darker. Harlan's crew escalated. Slashed tires on my Tesla. Graffiti on the plaque. No more aliens. FBI looped in. Hate crime probe. Elena dug. Ties to a preserve purity forum. Karen's name lurking in donor lists. Her? Funding the trolls? Post-apology? Taylor confronted. Flight to Florida. Return ashen. She didn't admit, but implied. They need to fight back. Betrayal squared. Mother against daughter. Venom spilling over. I exploded. First real rage since the stumps. Cut her off. For good. Taylor wept. I can't. She's still. We fought words whips, my unyielding, her soft. Door slammed. She crashed at a friend's. Alone, Grove mocking with whispers, I hit the bottle, McAllen gone, tequila next. Dawn found me retching, resolve hardening. Countersuit expansion, naming her in conspiracy. Mediation loomed. Neutral ground, a glass tower in SF. Karen arrived frail, pantsuit hanging loose. No entourage, just her, eyes hollow. Elena opened. Your involvement in the harassment, undeniable. Karen's gaze flicked to me. I vented. Online. Didn't think it'd go there. Vented. Like chopping trees was a bad hair day. Taylor, via Zoom, broke my why? After everything. Silence stretched, judge prodding. Then her crack. Because he won. Took my world. You're all I have left, and even you. Sobs racked. Pity surged, traitorous. I spoke, voice low. You took mine first. The trees? They were my start. You stole that. Her nod, tiny. I know. Payback's hell. Settlement. She pled guilty to misdemeanor vandalism. Statute hadn't run. Community service doubled. Restitution for damages. Another $5 mill. Her channel shuddered. Therapy mandated. Handshake? No. Virtual nod. Screen cold. Victory, but Pyrrhic. Taylor returned. Bridge mended over boba. We're stronger scarred. Winter solstice. Full bloom under holiday lights. Grove aglow. Party swelled. Diverse faces. Stories swapped. Harlan? Relocated, shamed. New neighbors. Queer couple. Murals encouraged. I proposed to Taylor there. Ring simple. Jade inlay. Roots with you. Yes, tear-choked. But the undercurrent? America's fault lines. Privilege's persistence. Fights never fully won. Karen faded to footnotes, a cautionary TEDx. How I chopped my own legacy. Listen once. Change channels. Her end? Bittersweet irrelevance, echoing in empty spas. Mine? Blossoms eternal, but vigilance required. As petals fell, I vowed, guard the grove, guard the dream. For Mom, for Taylor, for every transplant fighting to take root. A year post-verdict, Willowbrook pulsed with unlikely harmony. Block parties blending banh mi and barbacoa. Kids of all shades chasing fireflies under sakura arches. The $50 mill? Invested wise. Trust for Taylor's eco-startup. Seed fund for minority landscapers. Remainder in index funds ticking like a metronome. I stepped back from board. Jada took helm, her vision bolder. Life normalized. Mornings coding open-source AI for urban greening. Evenings with Taylor's belly swelling, twin surprise, her hand on mine, our little blossoms. Karen's shadow? Faint but persistent. Her therapy logs leaked, breach, who knows, rant about unfair targeting, victimhood unyielding. Taylor cut final ties. Heal alone, Mom. Harsh. Necessary. We'd attended one supervised visit. Awkward lunch at a strip mall dim sum. Her cooing at the bump, me silent. Grandkids, she whispered, hopeful. Taylor's rebuff. Earn it. Door closed. Silence followed. Controversy capped with a docuseries pitch, chop and bloom. The tree that toppled a titan. Netflix sniffed, I passed. Let sleeping chainsaws lie. Instead, a non-profit Nguyen Grove initiative, grants for heritage plantings in underserved hoods. First site, Oakland Flatlands, formerly concrete. Now cherry oases for Latino elders. Mom cut the ribbon, frail but fierce. From ashes, always flowers. Yet the bitter dregs surfaced in quiet moments. A nightmare, her face morphing to mine, axe in hand, chopping my own limbs. Woke sweating, Taylor's soothing. Echoes, babe. You're not her. True, my standards embraced chaos. Murals mandatory, weeds welcomed. But doubt whispered. Power corrupts? The suit, the speeches, had I become performative, a diversity mascot? Validation came unexpected. Harlan's apology letter, post-arrest, vandalism charges stuck. Saw the error, son. Your fight, open eyes. Son, the word mended something. I replied, eyes open late but welcome. Forgiveness, Mom's way, not absolution but release. Spring equinox, Grove in riot. Petals carpeting lawns like pink snow. Allergies be damned. Wedding under branches. Me and linen, Taylor ethereal white. Officiant, a drag queen elder. Vows exchanged amid sniffles. In chaos, we root. Reception? Feast of fusions. Faux tacos. Sushi burritos. Laughter drowning old ghosts. Karen's coda? A postcard from Sedona. Found peace in the Red Rocks. Congrats on the babes. K. No return address. Taylor pinned it to fridge. Milestone. I nodded. Ache dulling. Her empire? Rebuilt elsewhere, smaller. Online courses for mindful management. Ironic. Chopping ego, one webinar at a time. As twins kicked, future guardians of the grove, I reflected. The hook that chainsaw dawn birthed this. Socked by loss, controversial in fight, vengeful in win. At the end, not destruction, but defiant bloom. America, messy canvas. We paint over scars, layer by layer. Petals drifted, carrying grudges away. I breathed deep, scent of earth promise. Roots held, blossoms eternal. Epilogue whispers. Years on, grandkids chase petals, stories of grandpa's trees mythologized. Karen? Faded photo in a drawer, lesson etched, swing wild, fall hard. Me? Still standing, branches wide. The American dream? Not given, grown, guarded, one defiant bloom at a time.